Hello wrestling fans! In this video we're going to be ranking every single menu in the WWE 2K game series. Each menu will be ranked into one of 5 tiers, those being main menu, which means it's the main menu, good, indifferent, bad, and keeping it simple, with the worst. For the purpose of this video, our ranking system will focus on the design, if the menu is user friendly, and visually if it's easy on the eye. We are going to go through each WWE 2K menu in the order of the game's release, so let's start with WWE 2K14. Okay, so we'll start off by saying that 2K14 is pretty easy on the eye. The theme itself is very nice, and I like the colour, it's very 2K being red. The Rock image as well with the smoke effect behind it, very good. Visually, it's decent. In terms of being easy to use, this menu has also got you covered. It's very simple with the scrolling effect. On that point though, this isn't anything new or different from previous years, with THQ taking the same approach with WWE 12 and WWE 13. Overall, it's hard to dislike anything about this menu, although it does feel slightly dated right now, and also it's nothing outstanding, so I'm just going to rank this one as good. WWE 2K15, and I will say for starters that I do like this menu overall. Unlike 2K14, we have a slightly more complex approach with a main menu which goes into sub-menus to make your selection. This means in 2K15 you have multiple screens that you have to go through, and at times it can become a bit tedious. On the other hand, you could say that these menus do look like they took some effort, and the menus itself are image based, giving you something extra to look at. The image of Cena on the main menu could be a little bit better. It does look clean, but I do prefer how it looked with The Rock in 2K14, where the image had the smoke and made it look more animated. The only criticism that I have about this menu is that you do have to go through 2 or 3 to get to where you want to go, but it's not overcomplicated. So with that, I'm going to still rank this one as good. On to WWE 2K16, and hate's a strong word, but I do hate this menu. Now don't think I'm stupid, it is the same style as 2K15, but it's so poorly delivered. The image of Stone Cold just looks plonked on. The 2K16 logo, what is going on with it? Why is it faded? And why is it so big? And the background, what is that? The cover of Austin had the shattered glass. That would be much better for the backdrop, instead of this stock. The sub menus are actually better than the main menu, because there's so much more filling up the screen, which takes you away from that poor background. In all honesty, I just don't get what they were going for. The menus are easy enough to go through, but they still have the same problems as 2K15, so with that on top of the fact that I hate the design, I'm going to rank this one as the worst. WWE 2K17, and going from a menu that didn't have any thought at all to a menu that had a ton of thought is pretty refreshing. Instead of using images from the WWE archive, 2K17 took the jump to make the focus point the in-game models. In my opinion, this worked really well, and it was something different, and very cool to see the superstars walking around the background, then striking their pose on the main menu. In addition to the menu looking cool, it's also very user friendly, with you simply being able to toggle along and get to where you want to get to. I also think it's easy on the eye, with the colours being darker, and some could argue that it is a little too dark, but I'm not of that opinion. So I think this menu is rock solid and very refreshing from what we've seen in the previous installments, and I'm going to rank this one as the main menu. WWE 2K18. And sticking with the in-game renders, 2K18 tried to do something different with this highlight reel-esque moving backdrop. As you move through the menus, the camera would move with it, showing the superstar performing his move in different angles. I really like the backdrop, but I can't say the same for the actual menu itself. I actually prefer the scroll menu that we had in 2K17, which is probably why they shifted back in the next installment, but we'll get to that in just a moment. With the backdrop constantly moving and everything kind of looking a bit the same, it became a bit confusing when you're looking at the screen to know where you actually were and what part of the menu you were actually in. So with that being the case, it didn't make it the most user friendly. It was quite nice on the eye to look at, but that was about it. So I'm going to rank this one as indifferent because there are some good and there are some bad. Next we have WWE 2K19, and back to experimenting with the scroll menu, and it still works out very cool. The very first time I saw this menu, the model reminded me of the Thanos snap, with the fact that it was trying to fade away, and I thought it was cool. And I also thought that it was very bold of 2K to take this approach. With the white background, it really made the menu pop, but unfortunately over time that white menu became a bit of an issue. In fact, that white background became more than just a bit of an issue, with some players finding it very hard to get on with, and it wasn't easy on the eyes. If WWE Games had simply given us a dark option, and I know I said simply, but if they had given us an option for a dark menu and we had an alternative, I think we'd be talking about this one being in the main menu. But unfortunately, because of the white and it gave so many players so many issues, we could even be talking about this being in the worst. So it is a controversial menu to rank, but I do like this menu nonetheless. I think it's unique. So with even those problems that are associated with it, I'm still going to rank this one as good. WWE 2K20. Now 2K19 had one major issue, the white background. That was that. The scrolling was good, the actual design was really impressive. WWE 2K20 has none of that. It's very lazy, so much so that they just had the trailer rolling on loop throughout the menu. That's lazy. Not just that, it being lazy, but also I tend to think that it's worse on the eyes than 2K19, because that trailer playing over and over and over again did my eyes in. The overall design of the menu I hate, because there isn't actually much of a design going on. And why do we have a pink WWE logo? Please explain. Some of the sub menus are actually better than the main menu, but then you have to look at the horrendous models, and we're not ranking the models, so we can't really include that in our ranking, but they are hideous. So let's come back out and go back to the main menu. But then again, now we're here, I'm kind of feeling a bit worse. I think it's obvious. This is the worst. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. And 2K Battlegrounds is very different than what we've been ranking in the previous installments, because this was a very different type of game, a caricature of a WWE game, and the menu represents that, almost a bit like a comic book. The main menu itself is very bright and very vibrant, fun in fact, and it's not overbearing or hard on the eyes. It's also pretty easy to navigate around, with you going to a box which is clearly labelled and then going into a sub menu, although it does have multiple menus, which we've talked about being a bit overbearing in the past. One of my favourite aspects of the 2K Battlegrounds menu is the superstar box, and you go in there and you see these superstars in their packaging, almost like a toy ready to kick out. I do think that they could have maybe played on this for the main menu, and it's a shame they didn't expand upon it. Overall, there's not much to dislike about the 2K Battlegrounds menu, but I don't think it's up there to be in the main menu, so I'm going to rank this one as good. WWE 2K22. Lastly, we have WWE 2K22, and one of the easiest menus to navigate around. This menu honestly feels like 2K took a step back and said, look, we need to simplify things and make things easier for the user. In my opinion, if this was the plan, they have achieved it, because the background works much better than what we've seen in previous installments. Yes, it's a moving background, but it's much easier on the eye. It's not a white background, so that's not overbearing and it doesn't hurt the eyes, and it's also not constantly moving like a trailer, so this is really good. The actual navigation is easy to scroll through, that's simple as well, and even things like going into the sub menus is also quick and easy. 2K22 also made the step from going back from in-game models to actual WWE renders, and I think it looks good. I'm more of a fan of the in-game models, but when it's delivered properly and it looks professional, it works, and this truly does. The best way to sum up WWE 2K22 is it gets the balance right across the board. Everything seems to be spot on. Nothing is too overcomplicated, nothing is too glaring, nothing is too dark. It's just right. So with that, it's pretty simple to rank this one, and our final ranking as the main menu. So there you have it. That was every WWE 2K games menu ranked. In total we had 9 menus, with just 2 being the absolute worst. None of them went in bad, 1 was indifferent, 4 were good, and 2 are the main menus. Make sure to leave us a comment if you agree or disagree on our ranking, and how would you rank these menus, and also drop a like on the video if you enjoyed this one. But until the next one, thanks for watching.